Well. We have the fabulous Gutslit today joining us on VJ's playlist. Of course, we have just two members from the team. Gurdeep Singh, founder and the bassist of the band, and Aaron Pinto, the drummer. Hi guys, how are you?
Doing good, doing good. Thank you so much for having us.
The pleasure is all mine. Firstly, congratulations. You guys have bagged the slot for yourself at the NH7 Weekender. Of course, I'll also be there, so I really can't wait to watch you guys perform. But as someone who is not personally very acquainted to the genre, and I would in advance I would like to apologize to my viewers that a lot of my questions to the band in general will be coming from a very generic perspective, because I, over the last few months, have been making a conscious effort to get myself more acquainted to the genre and to people who are in it. So a lot of my questions will be very basic and for your information kind. But firstly, guys, I want to first begin by asking you, what are your expectations? Because I think the Weekender is the first, at home big ticket event that you all will be performing at. So what are you all looking forward to?
So we've played Weekender before. We've played in 2019, and before the whole world suddenly stopped because of COVID. So we ended with a bang, and then I'm like, kind of like we all are expecting this to finally start off, because this is the festival season, and this is the first festival season that India is experiencing after COVID. So we ourselves are expecting this to finally come together and things to start off with a bang and be a good run from here on. So we have like a good expectation about the same.
Yeah, Aaron, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much what Gurdeep said. It's I don't think we've had a big congregation of people all this time in general, and for us also, we did the Europe thing and all. Also, there people were just getting into the whole process of getting, in these huge crowds and stuff. So over here also, it'll be a great experience just seeing like all the familiar faces and this whole sea of people that normally NH7 does. So it's going to be a nice experience, and it's going to start it's going to kickstart more events, I think, from this point on, which looks like it.
Let's quickly, get through the Europe, the Europe tour that you all did earlier this year. I think you all were very happy to visit some of the venues that you all performed at before. I think a huge Gutslit favorite is Czech Republic. So do you want to quickly tell us about how did that tour go? And first of all, it was after the pandemic, of course, that you all were really stepping abroad to, perform. So how did it feel just getting back to doing what you do best?
Felt like going back home. Like we needed that. We needed that high. We needed that rush. We were missing that energy. We were missing that the whole space there, and how it felt like to be on stages back to back every day. Like it's a mad rush, and we were missing that. We needed that for sure.
Yeah, I think because of COVID and the 2 years, that much of a break will demoralize anyone, or even just put a damper on our spirits in general. And I'm guessing for every band it affected a lot of musicians. So the fact that we applying for the visa and everything, it was still so up in the air because all these protocols are still being worked out and all that stuff. So it was a big risk for us. We did end up taking it, and all the shows were sold out, successful, and it just felt like home, because our music is so accepted over there. Like a band from India going over there, and you have this sea of people like just wanting us, buying our merch and everything. It makes it all worth it. At the end of the day. So that 2-year break, it didn't feel like a 2-year break, because like everything just fell back to normal at that point.
No, of course you had, German metalers Stillbirth and, Organectomy from New Zealand joining you on this tour. So how did it feel? I'm sorry. How did it feel reuniting with both these bands, who have been your friends also in a way from a long time?
So Stillbirth's been with us from the start. We've grown up with them actually in the scene, and it was just great meeting them. And we thought they were doing the touring and all during this time, a little before we started. But when we met them also, they were like, this is our first full-blown tour that we are doing back to back because of all these protocols. So it was just great seeing them after a long time. Organectomy, we've met online and everything. It was first time seeing them, and they are like these heavy hitters from New Zealand. So just having that whole camaraderie, touring, sharing like that space together and everything. There are no words to explain how good it felt just being back on the road. With like our band and all these other, it's like a whole party at the end of the day, like 15 guys all every day, 20-25 days just doing this. So it was fun. Yeah.
But then, guys, having stepped out for a tour, given the logistics, the challenges that the logistics in general have kind of evolved because of the pandemic. So were there any setbacks and roadblocks that you all had to overcome in order to really push this forward?
Lack of sleep and having a driver who's awake to drive. We almost ended up in 3 or 4 major road accidents because the driver of the tour was one of our vans was also the vocalist of Stillbirth, and the poor guy was just overworked. He was handling the tour. He was the tour manager for the whole thing. He was handling non-stop communication between all the bands, and he's also performing every night with us. He is also responsible loading the van, getting everything in place, making sure all the 3 bands are taken care of, all the sound, everything, the venue was set up. So he was just overworked, and so that was one thing that was just we were too lucky, the other members were kind of there to be awake at that time and wake him up while he was asleep on the wheel. But yeah, that was one scary moment on the tour. It could have been really bad, but then it was okay. The tour went very well. From day one, we had very good response. What happened, the obstacles that we had to tackle were basically far end of the tour when our visas got revoked. So that was one of a major obstacle which we tried to handle, but then it didn't kind of work in our way, and we had to cut short the tour and miss the last 3 shows, 2 shows and 1 festival, and we had to bounce back to India immediately. So yeah, that was the only bummer about it, but otherwise everything was spectacular. It was too good.
Yeah, but overall also I think just add to that was I think after COVID the world has changed. So because of inflation and everything, just the prices have gone up in general. So tackling that one thing also was a big factor in adding to our whole costs and everything, and gas and all that stuff. So yeah, those were a lot of things have changed post COVID. So these are factors that we have to fix.
Because you spoke about the challenges put forth by COVID, and I think, somewhere, I've been talking to artists about, what are the challenges that the pandemic posed before them. And of course, for artists in general, the pandemic proved to be one of the most taxing times, one of the most testing times, to just, keep it very simple and straight. And I think somewhere, because you spoke about logistics issues, somewhere it also took a toll on you as a band. Because of course we saw Kaushal exiting and the band reuniting with the vocalist Althea Barve. So do you want to quickly take us through, for people who have been following the music of Gutslit, as to why did that reshuffle happen, or what were the causes that led to it?
So basically, Kaushal is based in Bangalore, and Gutslit is primarily a Mumbai or a Bombay band. And since day one, we knew that we will have to go out of the way and get things in a way where we either fly him down or we fly ourselves down and make this work out in the jam room or something. But the problem what was happening was that, realistically speaking, it was getting too taxing, first of all. And also in terms of money wise, it was getting a little too expensive for the band also to sustain and be able to get that, a member down to Bombay. And whenever we do have to tour, we have to play a show, so we have to travel accordingly. So things were getting a little expensive and difficult for all of us. So that was the primary reason. Second, the way we were writing our music also, that Kaushal had his own, own preferences of certain genres, and he was overcommitted for his other bands also. So he was just a mix of a couple of things where we amicably decided maybe it's easier to work with someone back at home, and and then scout someone back again. And when Kaushal did leave the band, and we still are very good friends, and we do Godless and Guts do tour together, and we do play shows, and we generally meet up also, be it Man Eating Orchid or his other projects and all. So and when he did leave the band, the second half of it was Barve coming in. That also kind of just happened, that Aditya was there in the zone, and it was very easy to get him back. It was just basically just it just came back very well together. Things just fell into place.
Let's talk about the formation of Gutslit. Gurdeep, since you are the founding member of the band, so maybe you could just acquaint us to how Gutslit was founded. What was the thought process behind the formation of this band, and why was extreme metal or brutal metal, or even some people even put it across as death metal, I think. The confusion between the different genres, or if at all, if some of these exist as genres also, that keeps changing and evolving with different people. But if you could just quickly take us through how and why was Gutslit formed, and what was the sound that y'all wanted to bring to the Indian metal landscape?
So basically, how and why is a simple thing, that whole urge and the willingness and the love to play music live. That is one of the reasons why I wanted to get into a band and play, because you've been seeing, I've grown up in the scene where Bombay hosted Raspberries, Raz, what we call it as. So Thursday Raz was the night for us, and seeing bands play. Then there was college competitions at that time, which hosted a lot of metal bands. There was Battle of the Bands almost in every other college. And seeing all that culture and growing up in that zone, I really wanted to have a band. And being in love with the kind of music that we play in Gutsit, I was as it is a fan of the genre. So it made sense, and it luckily I did find the like-minded musicians. So things worked out, and we did end up forming a band titled Gutsit. And the love for the music is what defined the genre, to be honest. So that's the quick synopsis of why and how the band came up.
So how did you approach all these different members to eventually come and join the band? How did you meet Aaron? How did you bring Pratik on board? Do you want to take us through that too?
So in short, basically Daniel, the founding guitarist, me, we were in the same guitar classes. Clever Menses was the guitar tutor, and he is still playing live. He's in fact playing iRock also. So he was that's where we met. Nikhil and Rajiv, the earlier drummer, we met them on Awkward in one of those pages, where you're trying to form a band. Nikhil left the band. Aditya was in the scene, was kind of a good friend. He joined the band. And then when Rajiv was not there, then Abhishek Nandi filled in. And Abhishek Nandi was, again, through the scene, we met him and all, playing in some other band. When he left, we met Aaron again. Aaron also was through the scene only. We've seen him play. We've played with his former band. So it's just that's how you kept on meeting musicians. That's how we met. Pratik was a fan of the band, but Aditya Barve had seen us play. Abhishek Nandi was the fan of the band. So basically, it's the fan turned musician scene, where either we approached them or they approached us. And even Kaushal, has seen Gutsit play. Even Ishwar, who's playing right now, was a big fan of the band. So things were quite easy to work out. And luckily, we found the right people at the right time, I would say.
Right. Aaron and Gurdeep, do you want to quickly also take us to the through the 7-city tour? No Time to Die. 7-city tour that y'all did earlier in the month of May, where I think y'all performed at Guwahati, Mumbai, Pune, Bengaluru, Hyderabad, and Trivandrum. How did that go about?
So that was that we wanted to do a warm-up gig, like we have not been playing gigs in general. So us playing a gig was essential for the band, band sanity and, just being intact. Because as much as we are a studio band, we love to play live. And that's what, that's why we do this at the end of the day. We can easily be at home recording and doing some stuff on the computer and all that, but we love to play live. There's no other feeling like that. So as soon as the doors open and, we could at least travel and stuff like that, and promoters were willing to, have shows and stuff, I think Gurdeep just took the reins on that and started organizing. He's the logistics guy in
I
this
don't
whole
even
process.
ask. Basically, I
But
just
I
message
have to
them.
say, I think I would agree with Aaron that Gurdeep, is, a lot of contemporaries, especially people who are from the Indian metal fraternity, who look up to Gutslit and especially look up to how, the kind of roles that you play as, the face of Gutslit is in the passion and the enthusiasm with which you always put your best foot forward when it comes to how the mercs of Gutslit is planned, what are the tours. Is that a fair assumption, Aaron?
I mean, so if it wasn't for Gurdeep, this band wouldn't be active because you're all lazy as hell. So he's the one who's like really getting shit done.
And when I'm lazy, Aaron is the one who irritates me the most, like what's happening.
Sometimes,
It's like it's like it's like a 2 week a two cycled like bicycle, I would say. Yeah, a bicycle. So it's like one wheel pushes the other. If you're pedaling, that both the wheels have to go. So
at
that's
this
how it
point
works.
we've got a good dynamic working, both of us, and honestly we know our roles in the band. Thing that we've experienced in the past with our other bands and just seeing bands in general, people don't understand their roles and they expect everything to be given to them, and
Right.
they just don't put in the work. So good, and we're all playing to our strengths. Gurdeep is great with logistics, the business side of it, management side of it,
Yeah.
getting stuff done, putting together tours and everything. I'm great with the visual side. That's what I do in general. So I handle all the visual aesthetic, the
Right.
merch, the how we're supposed to look, and in general, all the videos and everything that comes through. Pratik was the primary guitar songwriter, so he handled that whole process. Now it's Ishwar who's come into that place. So we all know our defined roles, and then we know that when Gurdeep says there's a show happening, we just take a collective call. We're all free. Just get on board with it and we do our thing. So Gurdeep and me, we are always chatting the whole day apart from our work, just figuring out new ways to get stuff done. Because at the end of the day, our music is very niche.
Yeah.
And it's niche abroad, but it's more niche in India. There's we are genre in a genre at the end of the day. So I think in general, just us breaking that whole little barrier and just making it to the where people know about our name, talk about us. We're considered a worthy band to be part of lists, in general. I think we've done a great job in that sense. It's just knowing your roles at the end of the day and just having that that will to wanting to, that passion to actually want to do this for a long time. We're looking at longevity, consistency at the end of the day. So that's what we're going for. We might not be getting the kind of accolades that we want to, or the stages that we have yet to hit, but it's a slow burn, and we've done a lot compared to our peers in general, and we're not throwing shade on them or anything. Because we've done what we wanted to do, and we've got sights on much bigger things at this point. So that's Gurdeep and me, the dynamic that we work in, and that's a single mindset that we work in.
But Gurdeep and Aaron, I want to ask you this, especially as independent artists, performing in a band, especially in a genre which, like you rightly said, is very, very niche, especially in India. Where do you bring that perseverance, or where do you bring that resistance, to keep going at it? Because sometimes it can be very unsettling. Sometimes it can lead to a lot of, self-doubt and a lot of anxiety in general. How do you bring yourself, how do you motivate yourself to keep going at it when, when things are not really working in your favor?
I mean, see, when I'm low, Gurdeep takes the reins. When he's low, I take the reins at that point. We are always, honestly, it's actually
like a seesaw
working
going between the
It
two
has
of you.
happened.
Actually,
But it has happened during the COVID period also. It has happened, where either one of them, us is completely on, it's like we are on like speed or acid or something, and either one of us is just at it and the other one is like on a slow burner, and he's like, maybe like really down, and it's
Yeah,
like,
but that's the thing about having our lives at the back end, right? So it's great to have somebody, just pushing it on one end when you can't really take over, and when he can't take over, I can kind of take over and figure out the things that's supposed to be done. It's basically that, and then the band itself also helps in keeping that whole, like new music, new ideas, new stuff like that. That's basically how we're just going through it. So I think it's tough. It's very
but
tough.
but the question that you also asked, the thing is like, actually it's a very difficult thing. It's very tough, and it's quite difficult to understand where and how we are headed and what we aim at. Because the thing is that every time you aim at something and you're not able to get it, because see, this is not like, like a level 1, level 2, level 3 defined format. There is no job format that that you're gonna climb the ladder in a certain way. But the only thing is that it's like that urge or that hunger, I would say, like, to basically release or write more music and then release it and then see how the people feel about it, to take it on stage. That rush. The reason I said that Europe was very important for us is because when you went back like to Europe, it felt like getting back home, is because that is the drive that we crave for, and that is the reason, like, we work so hard. So when we get on stage, be it even NH7 now that's going to happen, or be it even a small show, like say in any part of India, like, there are so many cities where metal has never happened, and we've gone and performed, or metal has not happened since a long time. It just feels so good. That is the drive that keeps you going. So till that point, you really have to work. It's like, that race that every athlete is working hard for, and that, say, 10-second of sprint, or a 1 hour marathon, or 2 hour marathon, or a 4 hour marathon, whatever. The whole point is that time frame is what you work relentlessly for, and that is the time when you have to enjoy the most. And that's what we do on stage. We are a very sober professional unit who are just out there to enjoy and play to our heart's content. We make sure that we all enjoy on stage. There is no like compromises on that for sure. So that actually is like the only saving grace of being in a band, and that is what keeps us going.
Yeah, and the thing is, there's no blueprint to what we are doing in general, because everything we've done is the first time. Like, if you told me 10 years ago when I started playing drums or whatever that we're going to be touring all this, I would be like, yeah, I want to do that, but it's realistically not possible because no one is doing that, nobody's. So everything that we're doing first time. We're breaking new ground for us in general. Other bands can do whatever they want to do. For us, it's everything is new. So looking forward there's a lot we want to do. So, but just when you get there, then we know, okay, we've gotten here, now we need to hit this next point. These are just things that add to the mental anxiety.
Coming to contemporaries and peers, you guys have really performed alongside some wonderful A-list metal acts of the country, where especially Godless, I think, who are your frequent collaborators, and, may I say, brothers in arms. But if I have to ask...
Drunk brothers in arms.
But if I have to ask Gutslit as a band, you guys have featured...
You also did the Gutless thing, Aaron.
Sorry?
We ourselves do that a lot, Godslit and Gutless. So many times, like while addressing each other, we do that fumble. All of us have been through that.
But I don't know why it sounds like such alliterations, like they all sound like mirror images to each other. But coming back to my question, thank you, Goody, for putting me in a spot. But
proper thing, everybody goes through it.
Yeah, everybody goes through it. Welcome to the brethren.
Okay, glad to be here. But I think for a lot of ardent enthusiasts of Indian metal, and even amongst your contemporaries, I think they really hail you as their favorites. As somebody who is a very firm believer in the feeling of community, if I have to ask Gutslit, who are some of their favorite Indian metal acts that they love listening to at leisure?
Started with Undying. Not Undying. Undying Ink is there, but started with Demonic Resurrection for sure. One of our old favorites and all. And it's like we have as defined. Like in the north we have, how I said, Undying Ink. In Bombay we have Demonic. We have Aaron's old favorite band, from Bombay. So, Aaron, you wanna name your favorite bands from Bombay? Then I'll go to the other regions.
My favorite bands, actually, my top list would be Scribe, Bhayanak Maut. These are my normal bands that I love. Currently, I really like Chaos. I really like Dirge. These two are really killer. Dirge really blew my mind last time I saw them. So they are really good.
Dirge is a very promising, and they've been working really hard also. Chaos, my favorites also.
Yeah, so I think we have to give a shout out to Third Sovereign, who's making a comeback. So they also they're doing the thing.
Our old favorites Plague Throat from that side again.
Yeah, and basically Cosmic Infusion. When you put me on a list, I can't really remember.
Yeah, exactly. That's the reason. I had to actually pass it to Aaron. I was like, I'm forgetting names.
Kayaba was really good for me at when they were on. What's that band we saw in Levi's? That that prog ambient band. What is that band? There was this one band.
But I think.
So a bunch of bands. Chaos and Dirge would be my some of the really good music that I've heard in a long time. I think Infestation also were really good last time I saw them, and
even Cryptos. I love Cryptos the way they are. One very hard-working band. They are out there playing so many tours. Amorphia guys are good. Then
Girish and the Chronicles.
Girish and the Chronicles was nice. A lot of good bands.
There's so much happening. I can't. It's. But yeah, these what I mentioned, they're really on my radar. I listen to them in general. But yeah, there are a bunch of other things, other bands that are out there which we keep listening to. And
Old Timers, Exhumission, Infernal Wrath, those bands they mattered a lot.
Speaking of the Weekender, unfortunately, or I don't know how to put this across, and I don't think so. There's a very mild way of putting this across, but somewhere I think the outrage in general is the common sentiment that has been felt by music enthusiasts, especially when it comes to the lineups that have been announced for the festivals that are scheduled this winter, whether it's the Weekender or very recently the Lollapalooza lineup. How do you gauge this sentiment, or what is your take on where do you think is this outrage coming from?
I think, if I'm not, because the people who are outraged are the ones who are fully into the music. They love music. Their lives revolve around music, like us and all. And I'm not saying in a musician point of view. I'm just saying in general, like when we're working or whatever, there has to be music. So we are always exploring new music, doing whatever. So I think the outrage comes from it being more catering towards the masses at the end of the day. And it's not really, hitting those points where it needs to hit. They've all, I think fan service is something that you should do when, people are asking for a certain thing, you try and you do something try and cater to that audience at least, because they are being your loyal supporters through and through. Even, I guess NH7, if you can say 2019, always, all the years, metal has been on. And they've gotten also great acts in general. So I think they were just expecting a big metal act this year. And I don't think it panned out how they expected it to pan out. I think that's why the outrage is. Also, I think, in my opinion, it's the kind of music that is being programmed, and I can say it openly, it's not my cup of tea. It's a little too soft or too mild for my taste. So I guess a lot of the audience is more eclectic, and it's more fan service. Not massy. You have to make money at the end of the day. So I think that's why there's this, kind of outrage. You can say it's outrage because people are really bashing everyone. Because abroad, when you see all these lineups, they've got the heavy hitters, and they've got local acts, and they've got the newcomers and all that stuff.
Right.
And for everyone, there is someone that it's hitting, right? Like you're tick marking for someone. I don't think that's happening with any of these festivals. They're just looking at, and I think all the lineups are the same in a way. Like you're everywhere you're programming the same thing. There's nothing new. So what do you do at the end? So
my opinion is like, on the other end is basically what is happening in India is there is no festival. I'm talking about the commercial ones. There is no festival that is catering to a certain genre of music. You have, say for example, you have Bangalore Open Air. Now, Bangalore Open Air is a metal festival. They are going to cater to metal artists only. So the lineup there is going to be related to the subgenres of metal, which is justified, and they do it every time. No questions asked, no doubts about it. They have always been like amazing with their lineups. Then nobody can argue on that. The reason NH7 gets bashed, the reason Lollapalooza or IROC might get bashed, is because NH7 is a multi-genre festival. The problem is that people don't understand that they are going to a multi-genre festival where they are going to have multiple bands of different genres as per the programmer who's booking them. So they cannot go out there and expect like, oh yeah, I love metal, so I want that band to be there. Oh, I love indie, so I want that band. Or I love hip hop, I want that band. NH7 is a multi-genre festival with multiple stages catering to different genres. And they will try to like, do whatever is justified in that format. Like this year, they are going very out, and like they are actually going and giving platform to a lot of new artists who have never played festivals, which is good. Like if they don't, then who will? I mean, who is going to do that? Tell me that. I mean, nobody is going to be going out and like, catering to those people. I mean, you're getting so many fresh acts in, which is good. Like if you don't like them, it's fine. Problem what happens is like, the way tickets are released. So then the pre-sales are without the lineup. Now that is where there's a difference between the foreign festivals, international festivals and Indian festivals. International festivals, they announce their headliners. They let people know, okay, see, this is happening. Or maybe they announce the whole lineup. Like, see, this is happening. Are you interested? Then these are the slabs. We are going to open the tickets at a certain date. And then you can buy. And then there's a rush. And then people of that fan base and all, they buy. And internationally also, if there are multi-genre festivals in metal also happening, or even in crossover genres and all, what they do is they have people attending on that specific day or that specific stage with proper time frames. Their time frames are also announced that we are going to have this band playing on this stage at this time, and they space it out very nicely for people to plan. So there are people who are doing 3 festivals or 2 festivals every weekend during the festival run. So they know that, okay, Friday I'm going to go at this festival for this band. Saturday I'm going to maybe drive down 200 kilometers, 300 kilometers to another festival because I want to attend that band there. So they are also very happy that way. And even bands can shuffle. The problem with India is they are still so chaotic. Like everybody wants to do everything. Then you're going to have a you're going to have a restaurant which is serving you Indian, Chinese, Italian, Mexican, everything. Then that menu will never end. And you will be confused a lot. Your pizza will taste like a tomato ketchup thing. Your Mexican will not be Mexican at all. Your Chinese will be Indian. It's going to be a mix and match of everything because you want to please everybody out there. And it's not going to be a specialty house. That is the problem that's happening. Now, IROC is a rock festival. They're going to have rock and metal, which they are kind of sticking to. Lollapalooza is a commercial festival. You cannot expect metal bands to play there. And it doesn't make sense for metal bands to play there. Then I don't know, like, why would anybody cry about that? NH7 is the basically,
No, I don't think
that one.
So Lollapalooza thing, I don't think it's a metal outrage. I think it's just a general.
It's just in general, and I guess it's because of the prices. Because it's the prices. Lola is too expensive, man. I mean, for India, it's and honestly, as an organizer or a person who's going out and trying to book flight tickets for my band to go to Europe, dude, it's expensive to fly. I'm sorry. Your bands out there, international bands are quoting a ridiculous amount right now to play. And because of that, what happens is if you're gonna get someone like an AP Dillon, even coming from India or Canada, wherever he stays, I don't know where he stays, even though I'm an AP Dillon fan, or you want like, get Imagine Dragons coming down, dude, they are gonna charge a bomb. And how are you gonna recover? Your sponsors are not gonna pay for all that. Sponsors nowadays are also smart. They don't just throw cash at you. They have deals happening where even they have to make money out of it. So they are going to charge you like, 20 grand, 30 grand, 40 grand a ticket. And trust me, they will still sell because they also have to cater to so many freebies as a promoter. They have to cater to so many favors, like, be it powerful people, celebrities who never buy tickets and all. And like, you want them to come down. Then there are like, different, like, corporates and departments in India to please, so you have to hand out those many free passes and all. My मेरा बेटे को जाने का है, तुम ticket करो. You get my point, right?
Yeah.
So basically, that's how it works. So then you need to balance it out. You need to balance out a lot of things in India to do it. So I don't blame them, to be honest. I mean, and NH7 people need to realize NH7 is a multi-genre festival. They're gonna have multiple genres. They're gonna keep on hosting new bands also, old bands also. Yeah, I know. I mean, the metal stage this time is a little weak. Even I agree. I spoke to them about it, but then maybe they have their budgets that way. I mean, it's not me who's programming it, so I cannot tell them anything about that. But yeah, but maybe if they do the Northeast, so at least Tool should happen. So their famous line that is there, at least Tool.
Oh,
Maybe Northeast should get Tool. Or Gojira. This time how it happened. Like, at least Gojira.
But on the flip side, I think Aaron rightly pointed out is that a lot of the acts are repeating themselves, across these lineups. Do you think it's also coming from a place where some of these acts feel that if we are seen in the big ticket festival lineup, is where we will make the buck a lot more than performing at as an individual set, in individual shows in different cities? Do you think somewhere it's also a concern of survival and sustenance? Do you think that's a fair point? That's a fair assumption?
See, bands are going to play. I mean, even when you're playing in Europe, bands are playing every other day, a festival. Like if they're doing a festival run, they're playing every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they're playing a festival. There are some festivals where they might even end up on a Thursday. That's their job. They're going to, it's their, maybe bread and butter for a lot of bands. Maybe that's what they are programmed. If you're working on a set for a year, you want to be out there in the festival run back to back, back to back, back to back. It's up to the programmers. It's up to the people who are booking the bands. If a band is playing in Bombay, do you really want the band to be up in Pune immediately, within a month? Or if the band is playing in Pune, do you want the band really back in Bombay under the festival? It's up to the programmers. If they feel the band has the potential to pull in the crowd, or if they want to give them that stage, then maybe that's their wish. Or maybe sometimes the programmer also gets a little selfish. Nah, it's my favorite band. I want to see them. So then I will book them. Yeah. So it's okay. I mean,
that's also what happens, I think, at the end of it. Musicians, you can't blame the musicians because if you're getting an opportunity to play, I think they'll take every. If you give us, we play every festival that came to us.
Yeah, we'll play every festival. Even I wouldn't see the genre.
I think as Gurdeep only said, rightly said that you have to keep it fresh. It's on the promoter to keep it fresh,
right.
And keep it different. And no one's blaming them. If you're getting crowd pullers and you're getting money makers at the end of the day, it's all great. That's right. This is part of the game that we're playing. I think part of the concern is that all the festivals have come together in the same time frame. Now there are 53 more, and they're all pretty similar at the end of the day. And I don't think anything has become like wow for people at this point. So that's why I think that people are just cribbing. They just want to crib. It's cool. We also crib. They also crib. It's cool, but the programming has already been done, and we can't really do anything about it at the end of the day.
It's a very old thing,
Whenever they get to play.
It's a very old saying in the metal scene, bro, the scene is dead, the scene is dead, the scene is dead. And then we will put up hey guys, we're playing a show in Bombay. And then they'll be like, oh no, I can't make it, I have this. Oh no, I can't make it, I have that. Oh no, it's too expensive. Oh no, it's too far. How will I get a train back home? I mean, then it happens with us also. There are so many shows I have missed because of my personal commitments or my work. Half the time I'm not in Bombay. It's okay, but then at least I'm not going out and crying like the scene is dead. I'm working towards making it happen, whenever it's possible. So it's okay. I mean, stop. I mean, some people are just meant to crib. It's okay.
But if I have to ask you guys, what have been the most ridiculous, instances of fan behavior that you have come across, and you're like, you couldn't just help but just cringe at it, or you're like, just make a face and move over it.
What? Sorry, I missed.
So my question is, what are the weirdest instances of fan behavior that you have come across? Like the least you could do about it is just move over it. You just cringed about it. You're like, okay, you can't help anything. It's just weird fan behavior.
When they're pissed drunk and they come up to us and they're just very clingy, and then they want
that close. Smell that, and it's like, and we are sober. Like Gutsted is like 99% sober. So even after the show, we just need a bottle of water, all of us. except like, okay, you might just get a beer, but you're not drunk. But
no, I
like-
think for most part of it, they are all chill. But I think it's just the extremely sozzled guys who come, and girls actually at this point. There's no the line of communication is broken at the end of the day because no one's being able to register anything, right? So because when we are speaking to them, they're speaking to there's hardly any registering happening as to what is the demand, what do you want from us. If you want a photo, like I have seen a guy take a selfie with me, go away and then come back and say, hey bro, you played a great show, can I take a selfie? I mean, I just did it with you 5 minutes ago, but I was like, okay, cool, I'll do it again. So that's the only weird thing that happened.
I have a very weird instance.
Go ahead.
In this happened in Czech Republic in 2019, I guess, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
yeah.
And yeah, so then we were there, we played a show, like 2 guys come up to us, they're like, yeah, we are a big fan of Gutslit and this, that, and they're sober, like they're not drunk. They're like very nicely, they're talking to us and all. They're like, listen, but we need to apologize. You guys are from India. So like, what's the apology about? He's like, no, we have a song dedicated to India, and like, we want to say sorry. And like, why? What's bad about it? He's like, the song is the capital of rape. And I was like, okay. I was like, capital of rape. I was like, why would you do that? He's like, no, we keep hearing India is like, not safe for the women, and like, it's a capital of rape, and like, everybody get raped. And I was like, and that's the cringe, that moment when you're like, you can't even justify like, what's happening in this country, and you can't even tell them like how it is. Like I remember one of our very good friend driver, when we were talking to him about something about Nike, and he like, hey, do you have Nike stores in India? And I was like seriously.
For us, more than fan servicing, I think it's just the West is so
India.
So ignorant about what's happening here. And I mean,
God.
we have to literally educate them. And when they see us and all, it's like, it's a task. Earlier, it used to be more of a task. Right now, they're getting a little more aware of what's happening.
Yeah.
But for us, we're always breaking these, like, they're always asking about cows on the road, about rape, about all these shit things.
Having guitar shops. Do you have buildings? Do you have buildings in India? Like,
this guy never couldn't comprehend that we have skyscrapers. Like my head was paining just trying to. And he's a good friend of us. I was like, I'm gonna hit you right now.
And now the joke is that this year when we met him again, he's like, hey Gurdeep, where did you get that Nike from? Did you steal it from anywhere?
My God, the bar is so low for us, really?
I mean,
okay.
it was.
But trust me, the same guy. When we took him to Poland, we took him. We booked an Airbnb on the 22nd floor or something. When we walked in the room, we were just very chill, and he was the guy with the camera on, and he was filming it for his wife. Like, see, I'm on the 22nd floor, and I was like, so.
I think the worst time for us would have been, the people earlier back in like 2016, 2015, people have looked at Gurdeep and screamed Taliban and stuff. And
I've had that so many times. Yeah. So many times I've had people walk by me and be like, Assalamu alaikum. Like, okay.
Yeah. I think the worst time for us was that year where we traveled abroad, I think, and there was a lot of the Nirbhaya case that happened and a bunch of other, there was a slew of these whole, these horrible events that had happened and it had become world news. I think that was I think Gurdeep will agree that was the worst year because we had to literally, people were looking at it with like, these weird eyes, like we are going to rape everything that's walking. And I was so annoyed by that whole experience. It still sticks with me till today,
Good Lord.
I think,
and trust me, Vijayalakshmi, when we meet people abroad, we have a very nice way of like, saying hi, shaking hands, or that's it. Side up to the guys who, these Europeans, when they meet women, they're just holding their asses, they're grabbing their boobs, they're like hands on their back. And on the other hand, immediately flip side of that is they are telling us that like, that we have we have rape instincts, and we're like, guys, at least my hands are in my own pockets.
Yeah, it was horrible. For a long time, it was horrible till it changed. Now, recently, I mean, we didn't experience that this time at all or the last few times. But that 1 year, I can totally agree. That was a horrible year for me personally because I hated that just being tagged like that.
So nowadays, we get looked down upon as immigrants. Nowadays, they think that we are immigrants and we need food.
Yeah. So every year, it's another scene for brown
Good
Yeah.
Lord. These can be really scathing and traumatizing, no, to say the least.
It's actually scary. I myself have a phobia. I can't travel to Europe alone. The boys know I get scared traveling alone. The way I get looked down upon is like, it's like, imagine, like, like coming back to the women angle, like imagine a woman walking at 2 o'clock in the night in some shady area and how you'd be scared about who's watching. I get that in broad daylight in Europe. The
But
way
yeah,
I get
that's the
looked
thing,
at.
it's not everyone. It's just the people who do it. It's not
Yeah.
the majority of people, but it's
Yeah.
the few people that do it now. It's horrible thing, like how you're thinking, like it's about like India, the West. I mean, in general. So we meet like 100 great people, but when you meet these two dumb, really people now, it really ruins your entire day, your week. Whatever.
Absolutely. I mean, thank you, Gurdeep and Aaron, that you guys brought this in, to us, because people, when they really think that, if as an artist you get to tour across different countries, and mingle around and mix around with different people, and it must be, they think it's very glamorous, it's very it's a very, very beautiful hunky dory picture, but then this is a flip side actually that you guys have brought before us. As a band that has toured across Southeast Asia, I think you're the only band I know who have done extensive tours across Asia and Europe, and even within India also. What's the one gratifying experience as a band that Gutslit feels every time it takes to the stage?
I mean, I think for
Yeah,
me, it's just the joy of playing live, and just even when like a fan comes and just like, okay, for me in Austria, the guy came up to me and said, "Hey man, your kid's pretty," and that's my moniker, my art moniker in general,
Yeah.
and my what I use for Gutslit and all of that. So he says, "Hey man, you're in Austria of all places." So I was like, moments like that really make all of this worth it. It's just small things. It's not the big things, like the playing of big stages and everything. That's great for me, and I live to do that. But it's just like when these fans, I think in obscure places, they come and give you stuff, and they're like, "Your music really helped me," or "This really, this really changed my life," and I really love that. Like, there's 2-3 guys in Germany who've got Gutslit tattooed on them. Like, literally got it tattooed on them. Like for me, that has blown my mind in ways that I can't understand.
That's
So
beautiful.
Yeah, it's you feel that burden, but then you're like, should you have to deliver?
Yeah, I was like, to commit to the band like that is incredible. And like for me, I would always consider doing that for Maiden or like Judas Priest or some band like that, right? For me. So if someone's doing that for my band, I'm beyond grateful, so that those moments really do it for me. That's why I keep doing this thing.
For me nowadays, I get questions about my kids. What are your girls doing? How are they reacting? And there are so many video calls I have to make and actually show them around. Like, they say hi to this, say hi to this person, say hi to that person.
But actually, Gurdeep, it's interesting you say that, because I actually would want to ask you that how do you explain it to your young, your two young girls as to what do you do and what is this genre of music that you make?
I don't have to explain. They know I'm wasting time. Like, Papa is doing some shit we don't understand. We don't care. My wife, my children are very sensible. They don't give a damn about it. They're like, please, it's your time. Do whatever you want. Don't call us for it. I'm like, okay. Fine, it's okay. But it's okay. I mean, it's like somebody playing golf in front of me. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, okay, you can waste your time on it. It's okay. I mean, doesn't
sure
give me pleasure.
One of them at least is going to become metalhead soon. I'm pretty sure.
I doubt. One of them is a Imagine Dragon fan. So then, if I tell Imagine Dragon is coming to India, so then I'm actually fearing like, if they're turning teenagers, then what's gonna happen? Like, then they might just be like, metal, no. Let's see what happens.
Well, I think this was such a wonderfully candid and absolutely unabashed interview. I've had such fun talking to both of you. I've always been interacting with Gurdeep on social media. But having done this interview, I cannot tell you how happy am I to have had both of you on the show today. Thank you so much, Aaron and Gurdeep, for your time and for joining me today this evening. And hopefully, we can all meet in future. And I'll be
NH7.
definitely seeing you guys at the NH7 for sure.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
this was
yes.
fun.
We will see you for sure.
Thank you for doing this, and this was damn good fun.